When I was 4 years old, my sister and I accidentally drowned. After being rescued, my mother slapped me across the face. I told you to take care of your sister. You almost killed her. Did you do it on purpose? From then on, if I ate one of my sister's candies, I would be punished by being denied food. If I secretly played with her dolls, I would be locked in the basement by my mother. At first, my father tried to persuade her, but my mother held my sister tightly. She caused Mia to have intellectual disabilities. I can't let Mia suffer anymore. Until I was 8 years old, a neighbor uncle tried to lure my sister into his house with a lollipop. To protect my sister, I was dragged in by him. When I returned home covered in bruises, my mother kicked me to the ground. Sadie, your sister is weak and sickly because of you, and now you run away from home. Can you give us a break? I wish I had never given birth to you. Dragging my bleeding body, I silently rummaged through the depths of the closet and found a red cloth package. Inside was a longevity gold lock my mother had given me before, engraved with "Live a long and healthy life." I stared at it for a long time, then calmly swallowed it. Mom, I don't want to live a long and healthy life. I want you to be happy forever. The gold lock was a bit big and stuck uncomfortably in my throat. I swallowed hard and drank many glasses of cold water. After a lot of effort, it finally went down with a gulp. My stomach felt heavy, a little cold, and a little painful. My mother used to be afraid that I would eat things randomly, so she told me stories about people committing suicide by swallowing gold. I was a little scared, but also a little relieved. Would it stop hurting if I died, and would my heart not be sad anymore? My mother pushed the door open, glared at me. Sadie, what are you standing there like a fool for? Come out and eat quickly. Your sister is hungry. Stop playing the victim. I followed her out, but my stomach felt more and more uncomfortable, like a big rock was inside. I didn't want to make my mother angry, so I gritted my teeth and ate 2 bites. My father saw that I looked weak and reached out to touch my forehead. Sadie, why is your face so pale? Do you have a fever? But my mother slapped my father's hand away, gave my sister a piece of meat, and said coldly, "What's wrong with her? She's just pretending, deliberately trying to get our attention. Ignore her, finish eating quickly and take Mia for a walk." My sister sat beside my mother, grinning at me, holding the new toy my mother had just given her. The gold lock in my stomach seemed to move, and I almost threw up. My mother's face looked even more unpleasant when she saw me clutching my stomach. Do you have any manners? You can't even eat a meal quietly. I squeezed out a flattering smile and whispered, Mom, my stomach hurts. If you don't want to eat, go back to your room and stop getting in the way. My father opened his mouth, but in the end just sighed. Before going out, my mother told my father, ask Mr. Roberts next door to keep an eye on Sadie. I felt a warm current in my heart. Maybe my mother still cared about me. But the next second, my mother looked at me impatiently. Don't let her cause any more trouble. Haven't we been burdened by her enough? She wasn't worried about something happening to me while I was alone. She was afraid I would cause trouble. But I didn't like Uncle Roberts. He made me hurt so much. My father said a few words to Uncle Roberts, and Uncle Roberts walked over with a smile on his face. Sadie, go to Uncle's house and watch cartoons. My mother said coldly beside me. Be obedient, don't cause us any trouble. I didn't dare to resist anymore. My parents would be unhappy. My stomach hurt so badly, I curled up in the corner of the sofa. Uncle Roberts leaned over and hugged me tightly. Sadie, what's wrong? Where do you feel uncomfortable? His hand stroked my back, and I shuddered. Nothing. Uncle Roberts looked at the cold sweat on my forehead, and the disgusting smile on his face disappeared. Damn it, don't get sick in my place, hurry back. He pulled me up from the sofa a little roughly. My legs were weak, and he half supported and half dragged me back home. Uncle Roberts put me on the bed, threw the blanket over me haphazardly, covering my head. He said in a particularly fierce tone, when your parents come back, say you were too sleepy and fell asleep yourself, understand? Don't say I did anything to you. Even if you do, no one will believe you. Actually, even if he didn't say it, I wouldn't tell my parents. Before, I was bullied by the boy across the street, but my mother said I was ignorant, trying to learn bad things at such a young age. I bit my lip hard under the blanket to keep myself from crying. The blanket was very thick, and I couldn't breathe very well, but I felt cold all over. I heard my parents coming back with my sister outside. My sister was giggling. "Mom, I want to hear a story." My mother's voice was so gentle. I hadn't heard it in a long time. "Okay, Mommy will tell a story to my little princess." Their laughter was so beautiful, like the music box that my sister liked the most. But that music box, my mother never let me touch. I heard Uncle Robert say in a low voice in the living room. Sadie was tired from playing. I saw she was too sleepy, so I sent her back to her room to sleep. My mother seemed to say, "It's good she's asleep so I don't have to get angry looking at her." My father seemed to say something, and my mother raised her voice again. "She's just a debt collector. If she was the one who died, our Mia wouldn't have become like this." I couldn't hear the rest of the words. I was under the blanket, in the dark. My stomach hurt so much, more than when my mother hit me. There seemed to be a bloody taste in my throat. "Mom and Dad, I feel so uncomfortable. Gold doesn't taste good at all. If I fall asleep, will you come and take a look at me?" When dawn broke, my stomach didn't hurt anymore. The bloody taste in my throat was also gone. I felt so light. I had become a mermaid bubble from the fairy tale my mother told. I floated out from under the blanket. It was so fun. I could see my little bed. The blanket was bulging, with a small me lying inside. My mother pushed the door open and said unhappily, "Sadie, the sun is shining on your butt and you're still not getting up. You need to go to kindergarten." I waved to her from the ceiling. "Mom, I'm up, I'm right here." But she couldn't seem to hear me or see me. My mother stared angrily at the bulging blanket on the bed. My father also came and stood at the door sighing. Let her sleep a little longer. She didn't seem to feel well yesterday. My mother turned her head and yelled at my father. "What's wrong with her? She's just lazy, pretending to be sick so she doesn't have to go to school. Look how well-behaved Mia is, she's already dressed herself." My sister jumped and ran to the door shouting, "Lazybones sister." I really wanted to tell my sister that I wasn't a lazybones, and that I didn't have to sleep anymore. But they couldn't see me, and they couldn't hear me speak. My mother walked angrily to the bed, and I quickly floated down, wanting to hold her hand. But my hand passed through her arm. She didn't even lift the quilt to look, still complaining. Such a bad sleeping posture, wrapping the quilt so tightly. Mom took the empty water glass from my bedside table, and hummed, "You've drunk all the water, so it seems like nothing's wrong." I floated through the wall into the living room and saw Dad go to open the door. Uncle Roberts peeked in cautiously and asked, "Where's Sadie? Why hasn't she made a peep today?" Mom stuck her head out from the kitchen. "She played too hard yesterday and can't be woken up." Uncle Robert seemed relieved and quickly ran off. He must be afraid I'd tell Mom and Dad that he hurt me, but I won't say anything now. Sunlight shone in, but I didn't seem to feel any warmth. I was cold all over. In the living room, Mom and Dad were watching cartoons with my little sister. I leaned against the doorframe, watching them. Dad glanced at my room. "Sadie hasn't eaten anything all day. I'll go wake her up." Mom immediately interrupted him. "Starving for a meal won't kill her. She's just taking advantage of your soft heart and manipulating you. She's so scheming at such a young age. Just ignore her and see how long she can sleep." My little sister imitated Mom, waving her little hand. "Sister naughty." No one came to check on me. "Mom, I wasn't being naughty. I really am awake. See, I've been floating around here for so long. It's just that me lying in bed, she doesn't seem to want to wake up." In the afternoon, my kindergarten friend Sophie came to find me. Sophie held up a doll and said shyly, "Auntie, is Sadie home? This is a gift my mom and I bought for her." Mom's face changed instantly, becoming very ugly. She blocked the doorway, not letting them in, her tone hard and stiff. "She's fine, she just doesn't want to go to kindergarten, and is throwing a tantrum pretending to be sick." Sophie's mom was a little embarrassed and said softly, "Sadie's mom, I think Sadie is pretty well behaved." Sophie was bullied at kindergarten, and Sadie got hurt protecting her. Mom seemed to be triggered, her voice rising to a shriek. "What do you know? She wants to destroy this whole family. Sadie is a demon. She harmed her little sister. If she were half as worry-free as other people's kids, I wouldn't be so tired." Sophie was frightened and cried, and Sophie's mom, with a displeased expression, hugged her and left. Mom closed the door. her chest still heaving violently, muttering to herself. She never listens, you've all been fooled by her. I floated next to Mom, watching her distorted face, feeling a little sad. Mom, I also want to be a well-behaved child that doesn't cause you any trouble. Dad came into the bedroom once. He stood by the bed for a long time. He sighed and said softly, Sadie, Dad knows you've been wronged. But your mom is on the verge of a breakdown because of your sister. She's also very sad inside. He wanted to reach out and touch me, his hand stopping in midair, and finally he withdrew it. Dad pulled the quilt up a bit for me. You won't be sad when you're asleep. Dad will make your favorite fried eggs tomorrow. He turned and left, his back looking hunched. Dad, I'm asleep, I'm not sad anymore. But I probably won't be able to wait for tomorrow's fried eggs. Before going to bed, Mom came in to look at me, complaining. I really owe you, you were born to be a debt collector. All you do all day is sleep. Even a cat or dog could be more entertaining. She walked to the bed. How much I wished she would anxiously feel my forehead and pick me up like she did when my sister had a fever. But she just poked my shoulder hard through the quilt. Sadie, stop pretending. Get up now. I didn't react at all. Mom frowned tightly. You're pretty stubborn, aren't you? Well, stay asleep forever if you have the guts. My little sister was frightened by the sound of her slamming the door and cried, saying she was scared. Mom hugged my little sister and walked past my bedroom door, gently humming a song. The moon is bright, the wind is calm, the leaves cover the window, my baby closes her eyes. She used to hum that song to me too. Before my sister was born, she would rock me and say I was her little darling. But that was so long ago, it feels like a lifetime ago. The next day at noon, I still hadn't gotten out of bed. Mom was a little anxious. That dead girl wouldn't really be sick, would she? She won't wake up no matter how I call her. Dad was also a little nervous. I'll go take a look. But Mom changed her mind again and stopped him. What's there to see? She's just faking it. Going now is exactly what she wants. They thought I was throwing a tantrum with my silence. But Mom and Dad, I'm not throwing a tantrum with you. I just have no way to wake up anymore. Today, things at home are a little different. Mom bought a beautiful cake, with pink flowers on it. I remember, it's my little sister's birthday today. It's also my birthday. My sister and I were born on the same day. Mom used to always smile and say it was sisterly fate. Later, she said I was too unlucky, bringing misfortune to my sister. Many people came to the house, grandparents on both sides. They brought many gifts, all for my little sister. Beautiful dresses, new dolls. No one remembered that today was also my birthday. And no one asked, where's Sadie? My little sister ran around the living room in her new dress, like a little princess. Everyone was laughing, praising my sister for being cute and clever. Mom smiled especially happily, her eyes narrowed into slits. I also smiled. That's great. Mom is finally happy. Grandpa suddenly remembered something and asked, why haven't I seen Sadie? Mom's smile vanished instantly, and her tone became impatient. Don't mention her. She's throwing a tantrum in her room, refusing to get out of bed and eat for days, deliberately trying to make things difficult for us. Don't let her come out and spoil the fun on such a great day. Grandma sighed. That child, she's a little stubborn. And then no one mentioned me again. When cutting the cake, my little sister said loudly, save a piece for sister. Mom kissed my sister. Armia is so kind, still thinking about her sister. She doesn't deserve to eat Mia's birthday cake. Dad was silent for a moment, then stood up. Let's still take a piece to the child. She hasn't eaten anything for 2 days. Mom glared at him. Don't go. She's just using this method to protest, wanting us to coax her. If we give in today, what will happen in the future? Dad looked at Mom's angry expression and slowly sat back down. Birthday songs were being sung outside. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. It was for my little sister. The singing was so loud, it made it hard for me to sleep. Mom, you see, I wasn't being naughty. I didn't protest. I made things easier for you. I'll never eat my sister's candy again, never play with her dolls, and never make you angry again. The cake was finished, and the guests were about to leave. My little sister ran to her room with a pile of gifts. Passing my door, she hesitantly walked to my bedside. Sister, wake up, let's play with dolls. Accidentally, the doll rolled under my bed, and my little sister burst into tears. Mom was the first to rush over. Sadie, your sister was being nice and asking you to play, and you made her cry. How can you be so malicious? Mia, be good, don't cry, Mom will get it for you. She lay on the ground and reached under the bed to feel for the doll. She found the doll, and she also found the red cloth bundle. Mom pulled it out. The red cloth bundle came apart, and the piece lock was gone. There were a few crookedly written words on it in pencil. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. She was stunned, and looked up at the small lump on the bed that hadn't moved for days. Mom's face turned pale instantly, her voice trembling. Sadie. I saw Mom's hands shaking so badly. She threw herself onto the bed like a madwoman. The quilt was lifted, revealing me curled up in a ball on the bed. My face was very white, my mouth slightly open, my hair stuck to my forehead in a mess. Mom's eyes widened as if she couldn't breathe. She reached out, trembling, wanting to touch my face. Just as her fingertip touched my cold skin, Mom let out a wail. Sadie. Mom, I'm fine. I'm just sleeping like Sleeping Beauty. That voice was so sharp, it interrupted the laughter and talking in the living room. Dad was the first to rush in. What's wrong? Did Sadie make you angry again? Then he saw me on the small bed. Dad froze in the doorway like he'd been struck by lightning, not moving at all. Grandpa and Grandma on my mother's side, all rushed to the door of my room. Their shadows were dark, covering me completely. Dad finally reacted, rushed forward and picked me up. Sadie, wake up, Dad's here. Are you still being stubborn, deliberately scaring Mom and Dad? We're scared, wake up quickly. His voice was tearful, shaking my head back and forth. Mom finally came back to her senses, pushed Dad away, and snatched me into her arms, hugging me tightly. She frantically rubbed my arms and back, as if that would warm me up. Sadie, open your eyes and look at Mom. As long as you get up, Mom will buy you candy, buy you so many dolls. Her tears fell in big drops. I sighed, wanting to wipe away her tears, but touched empty air. Mom, don't cry, I don't like to eat candy, and I don't like to play with dolls anymore. My little sister was frightened by the scene, hiding in the back and crying loudly. But at this time, no one was in the mood to coax her. I floated on the ceiling, watching them in chaos, feeling a little lost. Why are they all surrounding me and crying? Didn't Mom always want me to be good? Want me to disappear? Shouldn't they be happy? Soon, uncles in white coats and police uncles also arrived. The room became even more crowded. The doctor uncle took me from Mom's arms and placed me on the bed. He shone a flashlight in my eyes, listened to my chest, and then shook his head. The child no longer has any vital signs. Preliminary judgment, the time of death exceeded 48 hours. Mom heard these words and collapsed softly to the ground. So Sadie wasn't being stubborn, deliberately not getting up. Dad clenched his fists tightly, his eyes red, and asked the doctor, "How did my daughter die?" The doctor uncle was silent for a moment. A further examination by a forensic doctor is needed, but based on the surface characteristics, it may be bleeding in the internal organs and organ failure caused by swallowing a metal object. A police uncle bent down, picked up the red cloth bundle from the ground, and carefully placed it in a transparent bag. He looked at the crooked words on it and sighed. This red cloth bundle belongs to the child. What was originally inside? Mom stared blankly at my body, her eyes vacant. Dad forcefully wiped his face, his voice hoarse. It was the golden piece lock that her mother gave her before. The police uncle frowned. Did the child have any abnormalities before? Did she have contact with any suspicious people? Mom murmured. Suddenly she remembered something. The neighbor, Mr. Roberts, sent Sadie back. He said Sadie went to sleep when she got home. A flurry of footsteps came from outside the door, and Uncle Robert's somewhat nervous voice rang out. What happened? He probably heard the commotion and wanted to find out what was going on. But Mom, hearing his voice, rushed out of the door and grabbed his collar tightly. Did you do something to Sadie that day? She's been acting strange since she came back. Uncle Robert's eyes darted around and he repeatedly denied it. Auntie, calm down. Sadie was just tired from playing. She was fine when I sent her back. Dad's face was livid, and he grabbed Uncle Robert's shoulder. Mr. Roberts, tell me the truth. Was Sadie not feeling well when she came back? Why didn't you tell us? Uncle Roberts didn't dare to look Dad in the eyes, and stammered to explain. I really don't know what's going on. It's no use asking me. The child has been at home for so many days, and none of you have cared about her. Maybe it's because you neglected her that you killed the child. Liar. Mom and Dad, he's lying. He hurt me so much, he's afraid you'll find out. The police uncle came over and said sternly, Mr. Roberts, please come back to the station with us to assist in the investigation. The doctor uncle covered me with a white cloth. Mom let out a piercing scream, rushed forward to uncover it, but was held back tightly by Grandma and Grandma on my mother's side. She struggled desperately, crying heart-wrenchingly. Let me see my Sadie again. Mom shouldn't have lost her temper with you. Dad leaned against the wall and slowly slid to the ground, letting out a suppressed cry. My little sister, holding a doll, stood at the door of the room and asked softly, when will sister wake up? The cake hasn't been eaten yet. The house suddenly became very quiet, with only Mom's broken sobs and Dad's suppressed sniffling. Grandpa and Grandma on my mother's side, put my little sister, who had cried herself to sleep, to bed with red eyes. But I didn't know why they were so sad. After who knows how long, Dad received a call from the police uncle. He supported Mom and rushed to the police station. The police officer who received them was a bit stern, and after a moment of silence he spoke. Mr. Roberts confessed some things. Mom raised her head, her face covered in tears. Did he admit it? Did he kill my Sadie? The policeman sighed. That night, the child was already very uncomfortable at his house. He was afraid of taking responsibility, so he rushed her back, even lying and saying she was asleep. He paused, his voice even lower. He also confessed that he had improper conduct with the child. But after the autopsy, the child did commit suicide by swallowing gold. Mom's eyes were blank at first, then her whole body gave way and she knelt on the ground. Dad's body swayed, and he leaned against the wall to keep from falling. They finally knew what I had suffered. And when I needed protection the most, Mom gave me the most vicious curses. This despicable beast, I'm going to kill him. Mom pounded the ground like crazy, her fingernails tearing and bleeding without her even noticing the pain. Dad's eyes were bloodshot, and he was shaking all over. Bastard, I'm going to slaughter him. The police officers quickly stopped them. Uncle Roberts was being escorted through the doorway by 2 policemen, and heard Mom and Dad's curses. He revealed a mocking sneer. I'm a beast doomed to a terrible death, but how much better are you? Sadie was bullied by little boys and covered in injuries. Her mom came up and kicked her, and the dad didn't say a damn thing. This time I sent the child back and told you she was asleep. Did any of you fucking lift the covers to take a look? For 3 whole days, you left her lying there, turning cold. If you had shown her a little concern, would she have ended up like this? The only reason I dared to touch her was because no one was backing her up. Uncle Robert's words deeply stung Mom and Dad's hearts. He was dragged away, but the cursing seemed to still echo in the room. Dad's voice was somewhat unsteady. I remember now, the day Sadie came home, her clothes were torn, and there were bruises on her neck. Her eyes were tearful, as if she had been wronged, but I didn't ask anything. When you were scolding her, I was even thinking that it was good to discipline the child for being disobedient. If I had noticed she was uncomfortable earlier and taken her to the hospital, Sadie wouldn't have died. Mom's body trembled violently. It's all my fault. Sadie even told me her stomach hurt. I said she was pretending to be pitiful and told her to go back to her room. I saw the bloodstains on her skirt, but I really thought she had scraped herself while playing. We don't deserve to be her parents. How sad must Sadie have been to swallow gold and kill herself? My daughter must have been in so much pain. I shouldn't have been so fierce and scolded her. I looked at them and suddenly remembered some things from a long time ago. Back then, there was no younger sister yet. Mom would hold me in her arms and braid pretty little braids for me. Dad would let me sit on his shoulders and take me to see plays. When they came home from work, they would magically pull out candy or dolls. Every time Mom scolded me, I wouldn't feel sad when I thought of those scenes. I looked with heartache at Mom, who was almost crying, and Dad, who suddenly looked so much older. Mom and Dad, I don't blame you. I know you didn't intentionally not love me. Taking care of my younger sister is hard, you're just too tired. It's my fault. I always make Mom angry. If I had watched my younger sister carefully and not let her fall into the pool, it would have been better. I'll never make you angry again. You can love only my younger sister, only take care of my younger sister. That way you won't be so tired, right? So you can shed so many tears for me too. But it's too late. I was taken to a place with many flowers. Like in the TV dramas, many people came to see me off. Dad and an uncle wearing black clothes put a very small wooden box into the cemetery. Mom was being supported by Grandma, barely able to walk. Her eyes were fixed on the little box, and she kept muttering, "Sadie is afraid of the dark. Won't she be suffocated in the box?" Dad gently used a soft blanket to pad the bottom of the box, as if afraid of it getting bumped. Soil was gradually piled on top, covering the light-colored wooden box. And also covering Sadie, who would never cry in pain again. Mom didn't cry out as she had before. She stared blankly at my photo on the tombstone. In that photo, I was smiling so sweetly, and my cheeks were chubby. I didn't go down with that little box. It's too dark there. I still like places with light. But from that day on, the house changed. Mom stopped scolding people. She rarely spoke. She always sat on my little bed, repeatedly stroking the pillow I had slept on, and folding my old little clothes. Sometimes, she would suddenly raise her head and say to the empty room, "Sadie, it's time to eat. Sadie, stop playing, come home quickly. Mom bought you a new hairpin, come and see if you like it." Every time she talked to the air, Grandma would grab her hand with red eyes. Mom would angrily shake her off. "Don't be noisy, Sadie is sleeping." She seemed to be living in another world. In that world, I was still there. Dad also became more silent. He would sit on the sofa in the living room after work, smoking one cigarette after another, staring blankly at the door of my room, until Mom went to the cemetery to sit with me for a day, leaving my younger sister alone at home. Dad and Mom had a big fight. "Helen, do you remember how Mia drowned in the first place? You took the two children to the pool to play, and you went to buy a drink because you were thirsty. You let Sadie, a 4-year-old, take care of 2-year-old Mia. You could have brought them with you. All these years I've been afraid you were under too much pressure, so I've never blamed you. But you shouldn't have shifted your mistakes onto Sadie, hitting her, scolding her, and venting on her. Now that Sadie is gone, do you want Mia to repeat her mistakes?" Mom was silent with a pale face, not refuting a single word. After that day, the atmosphere at home dropped to freezing. My younger sister seemed to sense something. Sometimes she would rub against Mom and ask in a small voice, "Mommy, where did older sister go? She's been sleeping for a long time. Is older sister unhappy? I'll let her play with my new doll." Every time my younger sister asked about me, Mom's tears would fall without warning. Dad would turn his head away and forcefully close his eyes. I felt so sad watching them like this. I didn't want to see Mom talking to the air, and I didn't want to see Dad constantly smoking. I floated in front of my younger sister and waved at her with all my might. "Younger sister, I'm here." But she was playing with building blocks on her own, unable to see me. I persisted for a long time, calling her with all my might. My younger sister suddenly raised her head, her big, bright eyes looking at the place where I was floating. "Older sister?" I was extremely happy and floated around her. It's me. Hurry and tell Mom and Dad that I don't hurt anymore, and I'm very happy. Tell them not to cry. Why aren't they smiling?" But I said too much, and my younger sister couldn't understand. She pointed at me with her little finger. "Mommy, older sister is over there." Mom excitedly looked in the direction my younger sister was pointing. "Sadie, you've come back to see Mommy, haven't you?" She reached out her hand, grabbing randomly in the air, her gaze passing through me, landing on the empty wall. The light of hope lingered in her eyes for only a few seconds before quickly extinguishing, replaced by despair and pain. Mom looked at the excited younger sister, her voice hoarse. "Mia, don't talk nonsense, your sister won't be coming back." She thought her younger sister was lying. Her younger sister pouted, feeling wronged, lowered her head, and stopped talking. In the whole house, only my younger sister could occasionally sense me. I floated over to Dad again, wanting to help him blow away the unpleasant smell of smoke. "Dad, don't smoke, it's bad for your health." I knew he couldn't hear me, but I still wanted to say it. He didn't react, just mechanically lit another cigarette. I was a little anxious, wanting to snatch the cigarette from his hand. I pouted and blew hard, extinguishing the newly lit cigarette. Dad's eyes turned red. I knew he was reminded of the games we used to play. I used to like to be mischievous like that, tiptoeing and blowing out the cigarette, gleefully watching him flustered. Then he would laugh and prick my face with his stubble, calling me a little rascal. But now he lowered his head, his shoulders shaking uncontrollably. At night, Mom sat on my small bed again, lost in thought. She gently hummed that lullaby. As she hummed, she cried, tears running down her cheeks and dripping onto my pillow. I lay down next to her, wanting to nestle in her arms like when I was little. But I couldn't touch her. I could only lean against her faintly, saying softly, "Mom, I'm here with you." The leaves outside the window turned green and then yellow, yellow and then green. I was still floating around the house, and the house seemed to have returned to normal. My younger sister's blood clot in her brain was cured by a foreign brain specialist, and now she can carry her little school bag to school. Mom never scolded anyone again. She always spoke very softly, as if a louder voice would startle something. My room had never been touched, the small bed and desk kept in their original state. Mom would go in every day and carefully wipe it clean, spotless. It was as if I had just gone out to kindergarten, and would be back in the evening. She bought me many beautiful dresses and cute hair clips. But she didn't allow anyone to touch them, not even my younger sister. Once, my younger sister curiously wanted to touch a new dress, but Mom snatched it back. "Don't touch it, this is for your sister to wear when she comes back." My younger sister was so scared that she cried. Mom then woke up, hugging her younger sister and crying bitterly together. Dad spoke even less, and stayed in the study after he came home from work. There seemed to be an invisible wall between him and Mom. My younger sister grew up a little, and she no longer asked about me as often as she did when she was little. But she became very sensitive and good at reading Dad and Mom's expressions, somewhat like I used to be. Sometimes my younger sister would secretly run to my room and talk softly to the air, telling me that she got a little red flower, and that she learned a new song. Watching them like this, I became more and more anxious. I'm about to leave, but I don't want them to live like this forever. I want to tell them that I don't blame them. I want them to be happy. But I can't touch them, and they can't hear me. It was my birthday again. Also my younger sister's birthday. Dad and Mom bought a cake and stayed in my room all day. My younger sister was well behaved, reading picture books on her own, and the house was eerily quiet. I felt like I was disappearing little by little. I gathered all my remaining strength and floated in front of my younger sister. "Sister, look at me." My younger sister seemed to sense something, and she looked up and around blankly. I floated to the window, where a string of wind chimes Mom had bought a long time ago was hanging, which hadn't rung for a long time. "Sister, look at the wind chimes." The wind chimes suddenly rang crisply, sounding especially clear in the quiet room. My younger sister opened her eyes wide in surprise. Dad and Mom were also startled and came out of my room, looking at the window with red eyes. The wind chimes were still ringing without any wind. I started singing, and my younger sister hummed along haltingly. "The moon is bright, the wind is still, the leaves cover the window." Mom looked at her younger sister, and then at the strange wind chimes, and understood something. She didn't break down and cry like she used to, but let her tears flow silently. Dad walked to Mom and put his arm around her shoulders. Mom rested her head on Dad's shoulder. "This is so good." Although there were still tears and sadness, it was as if a crack had appeared in the thick ice. "Mom and Dad, don't cry. I don't hurt anymore." The sound of the wind chimes gradually weakened and finally stopped. My vision became increasingly blurred. "Goodbye, Mom and Dad and my crybaby sister. You must eat well and sleep well. Don't shed any more tears for me. This time, it's really goodbye."